Zoom Shakespeare Productions and Wandering Moose present Peter Pan, or The Boy Who Never Grew Up, by J.M. Barrie. Adapted and directed by Rebecca Bernstein. Episode 4, The Pirate Ship.
May I sit in Peter's chair, as he's not here?
In your father's chair, certainly not.
He's not really our father. He didn't even know how to be a father till I showed him.
I complain of John.
I don't suppose Michael would let me be the baby.
No, I won't.
Slightly is coughing on the table.
I complain of Nibs.
I complain of Slightly.
Oh dear, I am sure I sometimes think that spinsters are to be envied.
Wendy, I'm too big for the cradle.
You're the littlest, and a cradle is such a nice homey thing to have about a house. You others can clear away now. And now to the darning. Every one of your socks has a hole in it. Children, I hear your father's step. He likes you to meet him at the door.
Greetings, boys.
Peter, you just spoil them, you know.
Any sport, Peter?
2 tigers and a pirate.
Where are their heads?
In the bag.
They are beauties.
Mommy, we want to dance.
As it is Saturday night.
Of course, it is Saturday night, Peter. On with your nighties first. What's wrong, Peter?
It is only pretend, isn't it, that I am their father?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
They are ours, Peter, yours and mine.
but not really.
Not if you don't wish it.
I don't.
What are your exact feelings for me, Peter?
Those of a devoted son, Wendy.
I thought so.
You are so puzzling. What is it, Wendy?
It isn't for a lady to tell.
Now the story you promised to tell us as soon as we were in bed.
As far as I can see, you are not in bed yet. Well, there once was a gentleman.
I wish he had been a lady.
I wish he had been a white rat.
Quiet! There was a lady also. The gentleman's name was Mr. Darling, and the lady's name was Mrs. Darling.
I knew them.
I think I knew them.
They were married, you know. And what do you think they had?
White rats?
No, they had 3 descendants. White rats are descendants also. Almost everything is a descendant. Now, these 3 children had a faithful nurse called Nana.
What a funny name.
But Mr. Darling, or was it Mrs. Darling, was angry with her and chained her up in the yard, so all the children flew away. They flew away to the Neverland where the lost boys are. I want you to consider the feelings of the unhappy parents with all their children flown away. Think of the empty beds.
It's awfully sad.
But our heroine knew that her mother would always leave the window open for her progeny to fly back by. So they stayed away for years and had a lovely time.
Did they ever go back?
Let us now take a peep into the future. Years have rolled by, and who is this elegant lady of uncertain age at London Station? Can it be? Yes. No. Yes, it is the fair Wendy.
I am glad.
Who are the 2 noble portly figures accompanying her? Can they be John and Michael? They are. See, dear brothers, says Wendy, pointing upward. There is the window standing open. So up they flew to their loving parents, and pen cannot inscribe the happy scene over which we draw a veil. Peter, what is it? Where is it?
It isn't that kind of pain. Wendy, you are wrong about mothers. I thought like you about the window, so I stayed away for moons and moons, and then I flew back. But the window was barred, for my mother had forgotten all about me and there was another little boy sleeping in my bed.
Wendy, let us go back.
Are you sure mothers are like that?
Yes.
John, Michael,
You are not to leave us, Wendy.
I must.
Not tonight.
At once. Perhaps Mother is in mourning by this time. Peter, will you make the necessary arrangements?
Yes.
Tink, you ought to get up and take Wendy on a journey. She says she won't.
If you don't get up, Tink, and dress at once. She is getting up.
Dear ones, if you will all come with me, I feel almost sure I can get my father and mother to adopt you.
But won't they think us rather a handful?
Oh no, it will only mean having a few beds in the drawing room. They can be hidden behind screens on First Thursdays. Peter, may we go?
All right.
Get your things, Peter.
I'm not going with you, Wendy.
Yes, Peter.
No.
Peter isn't coming.
Peter's not coming.
Why, Peter?
I just want to always be a little boy and to have fun. Now then, no fuss, no blubbering. I hope you will like your mothers. Are you ready, Tink? Then lead the way. You will be quite safe, Wendy. Boys, goodbye.
Peter, you will remember about changing your sheets, won't you?
Oh, all right.
And take your medicine.
I won't forget.
Peter, please come with us.
Will they send me to school?
I suppose.
And then to an office?
Yes, I suppose.
Then no.
Goodbye, Peter.
Goodbye, Peter.
And so Tinkerbell took the children into the woods, towards the field where Wendy had fallen weeks ago, though to them it felt like years. Tinkerbell sensed something first and tried to tell the boys to hide, but they were much too busy listening to Wendy tell them about their new parents, though truthfully she was beginning to forget what they looked like. The first to be captured was Curly. He was seized by a Checo, who flung him to Smee, who flung him to Starkey, who flung him to Bill Jukes, who flung him to Noodler. All the boys were plucked from the forest in this ruthless manner, but a different treatment was accorded to Wendy, who came last. With ironical politeness, Hook raised his hat to her, and offering her his arm, escorted her to the spot where the others were being gagged. And so the boys were dragged onto the ship, as Wendy was escorted like the queen returning home to her palace. Only Hook stayed behind. Without a moment's hesitation, he snuck into the giant tree. Unaware of the tragedy being enacted above, Peter had continued to play gaily on his pipes. Then he nearly cried, but it struck him how indignant Wendy would be if he laughed instead, so he laughed a hearty laugh and fell asleep in the middle of it. Thus defenseless, Hook found him.
Would you look at that? Peter Pan! Abandoned and alone.
Lest he should be taken alive, Hook always carried about his person a dreadful drug, blended by himself of all the death-dealing rings that had come into his possession. These he boiled down into a yellow liquid quite unknown to science. 5 drops of this he now added to Peter's cup. His hand shook, but it was in exultation rather than in shame. As he did it, he avoided glancing at the sleeper, but not lest pity should unnerve him, merely to avoid spilling. Then one long, gloating look he cast upon his victor, and turning, wormed his way with difficulty up the tree.
Who is it? What is it, Tink? I shall rescue her. I shall take my medicine first. I was wrong not to. Why not? Poisoned? Who could have poisoned it? Don't be silly. How could Hook have gotten down here? Besides, I never sleep. Tink, how dare you drink my medicine? It was poisoned and you drank it to save my life. Tink, are you dying? Her light is growing faint, and if it goes out, that means she is dead. Her voice is so low I can scarcely tell what she's saying. She says she thinks she could get well again if children believed in fairies. Do you believe?
Peter flung out his arms. There were no children there, and it was night time. But he addressed all who might be dreaming of the Neverland, and who were therefore nearer to him than you think. Boys and girls in their 90s, and even those who had not been small for a very long time.
I do
believe in fairies.
I do believe in fairies. I do believe in fairies.
I do believe in fairies. I believe. I do believe.
Your light is coming back, Tink. Oh, Tink, you're all right. And now, to rescue Wendy. It's Hook or me this time.
This episode featured the voices of Karen Fulda as the narrator, Megan Golden Avocado as John, Nicole Saban as Wendy, Haley Bymeister as Second Tween, Michael Fieldol as Tootles, Megan McCarthy as Michael. Peter Pan was recorded by Leslie Barrera and Henry Graham Murray, and edited by Leslie Barrera